Oh.
Hey folks, Landstryder here, and welcome to another episode on TFiM in Motion, a mod pack by Grimkor. And I thought I'd start out over here at Brad's Memorial, start to show you some of the things I've been doing off camera. Sprucing up the hobbit hole and getting ready for another automation. And possibly, from the intro, you might have been able to guess that I've been making lots of iron. Oh look, the bunch berries are ripe. Well, let's go ahead and pick those. Found those when I was out last time looking for iron. I hate it when I do that. If something's on here, I'm so used to being able to shift it up into this inventory, but when you do it in TFiM, you shift something off of there, it ends up going up into the crafting grid, and then as soon as you close your inventory, it ends up on the ground. So whoops. So yeah, I've been sprucing this all up down here, getting ready for something. Added some instructions because let's come back up here. Add a little signs. Landstryder's Hobbit Hole open to the public. All are welcome to use the facility. Free sticks, obviously from there's grass growing here. Yeah. Free sticks. Added some carpenter block pressure plates. There we go. Yeah, those are nice because those will not get activated by default. By creatures, so the only player will open the door. Put another one on the inside. Disguises very nicely because you can put a block in it. Of course, worked on this a little bit, kind of closed it up, finished all of that. Been using this a lot, and I just made, if you've seen at the beginning of the video, just started another thing of charcoal. That should be ready to start dig that all out. I'll do that in a little bit if I need it, or when I need it. Oh, look, the dirt is actually still there. Sometimes the dirt gets destroyed, sometimes it doesn't. Oh, no, I can't get it anyway. Oh, well. Oh, actually, I'll pick it up when I go down the ladder. Yep, look at that. Added some carpenter blocks and all this gravel. So hopefully, yeah, it looks really nice. I've been doing lots of latex to get more rubber. Occasionally I'll come out and clear those and score them again. I don't need to score it because it's currently scored, but I can empty the bowl because I did start these while the bowl was more than empty. It had something in it, but I went ahead and started them up again. I go ahead and do that. It'll fill up a certain much and come back and score them again when I notice that they're not running. Alright, on to, well, you can kind of see the top of the project here today. We're going to be getting together the blast furnace, and you can see I've got some carpenter blocks down in there that are representing parts of the blast furnace because I've been putting the redstone together for the automation for it. So yeah, we're going to be going and doing that. Oh, actually, what it is I'm hungry, so we should grab a sandwich from the floor. We eat off the floor here in the hobbit hole. Why not? But yeah, like, where's that blast furnace at? I don't see it. And this has disappeared. There's no more trapdoor there because look at that. Ooh. Yeah, so I used some carpenter garage doors here to hide that bit of stuff back here for now. I don't know if I'll probably leave the door there, but it'll mostly be open. Then we can come back here and we can see all this redstone automation. Now, I actually showed this during Maze's stream the other day because I was finishing up this redstone automation. I had to have a talk with Grimkor about turning on the Minecraft hopper recipe. So in the TFC config, now this is if you're playing vanilla TFC, this is totally possible so long as you turn on the vanilla Minecraft hopper recipe. Now I don't know how you would get the chest in vanilla TFC, but we actually have, if we look at Hopper, requires a Minecraft chest and 4 wrought iron, or 5 wrought iron, or Minecraft iron, but of course you can't get that. And the chest in this pack you get by surrounding any regular chest with rubber mix. And rubber mix is made by vulcanizing agents with the latex in the barrel. So that was a little thing that I had to go do, is I had to go find some chalk to make a bunch of vulcanizing agent. And that is right here, vulcanizing agent. If we look at the recipe on that. Yeah, I went and grabbed chalk. You can also use gypsum powder. So you're given a little bit of gypsum powder as a quest reward. So you can make a little bit of this vulcanizing agent. I think it's what it is. You get 4 pieces. So yeah, you can make a bit of that vulcanizing agent without ever having to go find much of anything from that quest reward. You still do have to find the sulfur, but that's fairly easy. Anytime you see lava on the surface, it's probably going to have some sulfur around it. And the other 2 things are, of course, coalinite and graphite, right? Is that right? Check that. Yes, coalinite and graphite, which are, you need a lot of that stuff. And as you can see, that I've got gone ahead and ground up a full 4 stacks of each, and got myself a stack of clay here, because we are going to need to make a ton of fire bricks. Yes, fire bricks. That is I think that's what they're called. So to get that clay, look at the usages on this. We can make a crucible. Obviously, we need 2 of those for the blast furnace. 1 that we're going to use to craft into the blast furnace block, and 1 to put into the multi-block structure that is going to catch the material. There's this ore cooker. I have no idea how that works. We may get into that at some point, but it's not core TFC. And then there's this ceramic bucket. I do actually want to get one of those today, and I don't know if we're going to have a chance to do that, but this is the recipe right here. Clay fire brick that we're going to need. It takes 4 of these fire clay to make 2 fire bricks, and it takes 2, well, then you got to cook them in a pit kiln, or you can smelt them in a regular furnace. I don't have a regular furnace though. Yeah, so if I had a, yeah, don't have that. Yeah, if I had an alloy smelter, I could do it with an alloy smelter, but I need this to get the alloy smelter, so we're going to have to do it in a pit kiln. So once I had the fire bricks, then I'm going to need 5 of those for every 2 blocks. I kind of miscalculated then. So I need a total of 4 of those fire bricks for each level of the blast furnace. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see that they're represented by the carpenter blocks that are up in there now. Needing 4 of those per, and they each require 2.5 bricks. So, hang on, let's check that again. Fire bricks, 32. We need like stacks and stacks of these things. Stacks and stacks of these things. I don't think this is even going to be close enough. I started covering up some of the this cavern, this thing here. You can look down here. See, what I'm doing is I'm just using a bunch of supports. Now, if anything happens to any of these, there's going to be a nasty cave in, but hopefully we won't have to worry too much about it once we get it closed up. But we're going to make some pit kilns right over here. Daytime. I actually want to leave it nighttime. That way, once I actually can get these started, I should be able to sleep off the night and they'll rapidly be done, hopefully. Now I need a whole bunch of straw. Okay, there we go. Now they're all on fire. Now if I go to sleep, hopefully they will be mostly done. I think I just aggravated a Enderman. Oh well. Okay, so it's the next day, and I've already gone up. They burned out up here. Yeah, there we go. Let's see, they're out. I've already started grinding up more colenite. Maybe I should use the pickaxe. There we go. Break those. It's easier than trying to pick them back up, in my opinion. But we're going to have to do this several more times to get enough of those, of the fire bricks, in order to complete the blast furnace all the way up to the maximum, which is what we want. We want a maximum size blast furnace. Even though we may not be using it for very long, we want it maximum size, especially since we are open to the public and other people might want to come along and use this to make steel. And yeah, we'd like to have that ready. So now that I got some fire brick, I can grab some mortar that I got right out here. The fire brick I need in 5 locations, isn't it? Yes. Like that. There we go. And then mortar. Gonna give us some fire brick. Not only get, oh, that gives us 12 fire brick. Maybe I'm miscalculating here. You don't need quite as many as I think I do. That's good. That gives us 12, which is enough for 3 layers. So I only need to do 1 more layer. Okay, that's good. And then I'm gonna get the rewards for that. So I need, oh, just a few here. I've got 2. So 5 gets me 2 of those. I need 4 more, so 8 more than what I have. Sometimes if you click in just the wrong place, it'll show the animation, but trust me, it's not actually spinning unless you hear the noise. Alright, there we go. That should be our last 10, and if we go sleep through this night, that should be ready for us. Of course, whenever we sleep through the night, we immediately need to eat, especially if it was a full night. So that was a totally full night, and it is done. Excellent. There we go, and we can finally make our last couple bits that we needed. Now, of course, we still do need the 4 from the quest, so then let's figure out what we got to do for that. From our quest. Now I have a feeling that I've goofed up. Oh, what's this? I've completed the iron bloom stuff. Cool. That's going to give me a couple bits of hematite. Sure, claim that. Done. Okay, yes. Here's where I've goofed up. I need to make 14 wrought iron ingots and have them in my inventory all at once in order for this to be detected. And I've already had more than 14 ingots in my inventory, just not all at the same time. You can see that I've got a lot of ingots ready to go, so this should not be too hard for me to get done. Should go ahead and throw this colenite graphite back in here a second. So our 16 fibers, we can go ahead and we should probably do it from the top down. I have to hold shift because those are droppers right above those ones. Also have to hold shift when I place them on a carpenter block, or it'll go into the carpenter block. That's texture, and we don't want that. Don't worry, I'm going to show you this redstone structure in my creative world, and we'll talk about how all of this works at the end of the video like we did last time. But let's get it built the rest of the way first here in the survival world, and then we will figure out that all out. So, it seems to get those last 4 pieces via the quest, I need to do the wrought iron. So we're going to have to fire this up. I've got, yeah, and then we're going to start working all of these blooms. So yeah, that's what I want to do. Okay, now fortunately I don't have to wait for this to get all hot because I have saved all of the heat levels on all of these bits of refined iron. All I got to do is smack these down into ingots. These are, I split a whole bunch of raw iron blooms. In fact, I got another one in there. So let's pull that one out. Because we need a ton of iron, regardless of anything. Just need a ton of iron. So might as well go ahead and start on this one again. We can go ahead and even throw in another load of charcoal. See? First of all, I know the droppers are loaded because I've loaded them. Then I place the coal. Don't forget the number 2 is important because I often forget number 2. Then press the button. Okay, it's fully loaded. And then after it's fully loaded, just click it with the light it and light, boom, there you go, done. Now all I gotta do is wait for it to be done and move on. So that one's getting warm, that one is getting warm, but these right here are ready to go. All I gotta do is pull them out, toss them in here. And repeat this process a whole lot of times. Alright, well, bloom's done. We can go ahead and throw that in there. And it looks like we definitely got enough wrought iron now to complete this quest. So let's throw in a bunch of these in our inventory. Is that enough? Yeah, that's enough. Okay, let's put them back so they don't cool off. And then we'll look at the quest. We don't want to. We want them to stay as warm as possible because I'm pretty sure we're about to have to weld them together. If we look, quests, that is complete. That's going to give us 4 more. Claim. Take that. I will take that. Better fire starter. Detect. I've made this. Do I gotta make another one? Oh, I gotta make another one. That's okay. It's not a bad idea to have a spare. The one that I have will eventually run out. You can see I've actually used up quite a bit of durability on it already. So we'll just craft another one. And then that can go on that tool rack. Yeah, there we go. The Bibliocraft one. Not the... I don't know if it'll go on that or not. Maybe. Probably, because it's not a standard flint and steel. It's terraforming craft flint and steel. Will it go? Nope, it will not go on there. So yeah, you gotta go on there. Stay on there. For now, that's another quest done. That was an easy one. What do I get? I get a record. Cat or 13 or blocks. We'll take 13. Clean. Done. Then we're gonna need a wrought iron anvil. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, we do need to weld these together. Let's real quickly, while I'm thinking about it, start this up again. There we go. And we will, I've got this vulcanizing agent in my inventory because I was meant to come up here and show you that I need to just throw. I've got a almost full barrel latex. I need to do this anyway, so seal that up. It's going to give us a bunch of rubber mix from that vulcanizing agent. Let's get back down here to the hot iron. That's not quite ready, but yeah, we need to weld more double ingots, because I have to recraft my wrought iron anvil to complete the quest. It's not a big deal, because I can melt that anvil back down in this crucible and get my iron back if I need to, or I could even use part of that iron as in part of the process of making some better material later. Probably just melt it back down to get the ingots back out of it, I think. It's going to be the way to do that. So now I can start. I got to make... And since I got to make 7 of these, this is one of those times where you want to put something in that slot. And then I can do this. Shift, weld. Of course that was... Oh, that one wasn't ready. One of those wasn't ready. Was not ready. So let's go ahead and put these in there. And we need to pull 2 more to get these... Yeah. Alright, now if I pull these out that they're a little bit warmer and I shift click them in there like that without shift clicking your shovel in there, works a lot easier. So now pull the next 2, throw them in there, start getting warm. Okay, you might see that this is not a full 100 unit iron bloom. So what I do with those is I bring them back up here and toss them in one of the droppers that contains the ore, so that they will get dropped back into one of the future blooms and get, absorbed into that. Now you can only do that with blooms that are less than 100 units, so don't bother trying to throw a full bloom back in there and make it like a big jumbo bloom or something like that. Don't work. So you can only throw the partial ones back in there, and that's what you do with them. You just keep throwing them back in, and then eventually, especially if you've got rich or poor ore, you're gonna run into those strange unit totals. So that's how you deal with that. Now, we should be able to put our last ingot together. There we go. Now we can make our iron anvil that we've already made. We're going to make it again just for quest. Sadly. There we go. And that is complete. We're going to go ahead and put that in there. Now, it's not going to melt right away because this is not hot enough. Now, to do that, first of all, I'm going to take those out. We're going to go ahead and make us another sheet while we've got this. Strike while the iron is hot. You wonder where that came from. Oops. It's totally not what I wanted to do. So to dink, nope. A lot more hits than I needed to do, but it got the job done. Cool that off. Of course, we already got 2 stacks. We need a total of 3 stacks plus 10. Yeah. No, 3 stacks plus 12. There we go. That's right. 3 stacks plus 12. Of sheets. Just of sheets. But, okay, now that that's clear, I can go ahead and pump this bellows. And this should start going up in heat. That'll also make this go up in heat. I'm going to have to pump it a few times in order to get it really hot, in order to melt that iron down. There we go. Iron melted. Give it a little bit more heat to keep it liquefied in there. There we go. Now it's up to the temperature that it can pour it back into my ceramic molds and get it back out of the this, and then it'll cool back down from here, and we will be able to use that. I believe we need this stuff for something, so I'm going to keep them in there. I'm going to keep them hot. I think we need to use that to make weak steel later on. Alright, so all of the iron has been cleared out of the crucible. Got some iron heating up there because we're still going to need more sheets. But we can at this point go ahead and take our extra crucible that we crafted before, all these double sheets that we've gotten made, and we can go ahead and actually craft the main bit of the blast furnace. There and there, the blast furnace. There we go. I bet I was supposed to wait. I was supposed to wait, wasn't I? I just screwed up. Fire brick. Ah! I needed to craft the fire brick afterwards. Gah. Okay, that's super duper annoying. Yeah. So, but I had no way to know that I needed to wait to craft the fire brick. So let's check something here. Quest. It is a crafting task. So see, I've completed that. So annoying. Okay. Nope, I'm gonna cheat it. I can't take it. I can't take it. So we go into quests, we check out what quest that is. It's number 50. We do this. Complete number 50 for Landstryder. I'm not doing it again because that is just dumb. There we go. If I made that last 4 fire bricks, then I wouldn't need to do the quest. Oh, and it gives me 24 wrought iron sheets. That's kind of nice. Claim that. Let's also claim I don't a bronze chestplate and a bronze sword. Okay, I guess sword, I guess. I don't know. Don't really need either of those. But there we go. Sword goes down. Okay, now that that's all done, taken care of, let's check this quest line one more time. That completes everything. That is everything pretty much completed except for this quest. Done all that. I can't do that one because it needs niche blocks. I haven't found those yet. And quests, the only other, let's see, that one's all done. Farmer Job's all done. Early blacksmithing all done. Stone Age all done. Story. You guys can go read that sometime if you want. And of course these ones that I can keep doing over and over again, quests and zombies, which are going to give me Colonite and Graphite, which is no big deal. Because I can go mine that much easier than I can kill those mobs for that stuff. So now that I've got my last 4 fire bricks, come here you. Fire bricks. Can go ahead and put those in place. Yeah. Alright. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Now, I wasn't calculating on the 24 sheets from the quest. So, do I have enough now to complete this? Not quite, but nearly. I actually only need 3 more double sheets. So, to complete the whole shebang, so let's do that. Okay, now that we've finally got all of our wrought iron sheets and our blast furnace crafted, we are ready to do the final assembly of the multi-block. One little thing about this is you can't place this blast furnace block until you have a valid, everything else is valid, which is not right now, because these things need to be covered with these iron sheets. So if we try to place it right now, you can see that it just pops off and it went someplace, probably back here. There it is, back in the redstone mechanisms. So what we got to do is we need to cover all of our fire bricks with sheets of iron. So every surface, every side surface of every fire brick that you can see on the outside needs to be covered with a sheet of iron, like so. Whew, now that that is all done, when I put this in, it should, yeah, there we go, it stayed that time, because it's now fully functional blast furnace. We are ready to go. Now the last, sort of, not quite, sort of, not really, because there is one more, there's a couple more things we need to do. Ooh, we need more flux for one. That's not a big deal because we live in a marble biome. Marble, and we get a bunch of flux. We may as well load it up really good, and we've got a bismuth hammer to break that up with. There we go. Flux, flux, lots of it. Because one of the things you have to put in the blast furnace when you're making steel is flux. So that can go. It cannot go in this one right here. This hopper right here needs to be the charcoal. In fact, let's go ahead and grab ourselves a bit of charcoal out of here for now, because we're going to switch over from making a bunch of iron. We're going to start switching up that, making a little bit of steel, so that we can start getting into some tech. So we're going to go ahead and put the flux in the one that's directly across. There we go. And then the third dropper here is the one that's going to need the iron. So we're going to go ahead again and steal some. Ooh, we're getting kind of low here. Kind of low here. In fact, let's go down to the storage cellar and see if we've got a bunch of iron down here. We might. Yes, we do. There we go. Actually, I do not want to use those up because they're just worthless. They're the tiny little pieces that spawn on the surface, and they're just not worth wasting the coal on to process them. I might as well use them for dye. That's probably what I'll save them for, is use them for dye. But there we go. Throw all that hematite in there, and we should be good to go. We should be good to go. So let's kind of take a look at how this works, or how it operates. So we load the materials in the dropper. We just did that. We press the top button once. This is the top button. We press it once. Okay, something's going on. So does it say? It says charcoal 20 or 20. Okay, I think we're supposed to say 26. So we might have done something wrong. I don't know. We might have run out of materials. So let's go up and look. I heard some stuff going on there. Did it work right? No. So okay, so we've got some escaped material. That's good to know. Okay, so we need to adjust for that. How can we adjust for that? So what we might need to do is, let's bring that. So yeah, so we got some escaped material. So 8 material didn't go in because the hematite bounced out. Okay, good to know. In my original design though, this wouldn't be as big of an issue, because there's supposed to be some chests on top of these hoppers and hoppers behind these droppers. But we don't have those built yet. So what we need to do though is probably, first of all, let's go ahead and load these last 8 pieces. So it did spit the material out. What's going on here? Is this too much material, maybe? Let's check something here. Maybe I only need 20 pieces. Could have swore that it was 4 per level, and we've got 5 levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, we've got 5 levels. So, but it says there's maximum ore and charcoal in there. 4. Oh, wait, 4 times 5 is 20, isn't it? Okay, so we've got too much material being spit out. That's the problem. Just too much material. So we needed to adjust our clock. That's not a big deal. So we throw that in there. That's easy to do. Unless I did make this too short. No, 25 times 4 is 20. Yeah, no. Definitely right. I don't know where I got 28. But let's adjust that real quick. It's just fairly easy to do. So back here, one of these hoppers is going to have a number of items in it. There we go, 14 items. To take out 8 items, we need to remove 4 of those. And now it should, in theory, do the one. In fact, we can do this. It's just going to spit it all out on the ground up there. So let's do that. That's just going to end up all out here on the ground. Or in the little hole here, actually. But when we pick these up, we should have 20 of each. Yep. Correct. 16, 4. Yes. 20 of each. That doesn't seem right, though. Oh, well. That must be right. So, yeah, we're going to run with that. So, it's 10 items into the hoppers. For each item, for each item in the hopper, it spits out 2 items from the droppers. And that's how this is set up. We'll kind of explain that here in a little bit, how this works. So let's continue on. Now that we've made that little adjustment, we've fixed that little issue. This will now work properly for the next person. So check the Tiri and light. Okay, check the Tiri. What's the Tiri? Oh, there's a slot right here. We got to fill that up. Do we have... No. Let's get that running again. Get that heated back up. Throw some of these in here, I believe. We're going to need those. Let's go ahead and heat up a few of them. Go grab a little bit of charcoal to throw in there to keep it running. Gonna have to steal some more from here until I dig that out. It's all over there waiting for me to dig out. I just don't want to take time right this minute because I'm recording. So we're just going to grab it out of there for the moment. And come on down here. So there's no Tiri in there, so we had to make one. Basically is what it amounts to. And hopefully I'm saying that semi-right. I've gone through that whole how do you say this thing before, so we're not gonna go down that path today. But needless to say, there's a tube that needs to go in there to make it work. And without that tube, it won't work. So we're gonna make a wrought iron one. And it is TUYR. Oh no, ERE. There we go, Tiri. And it takes a double sheet. Okay, so I am heating enough material. I did need a total of 4 ingots for one of these things. Of course, the first one, pretty much the best material you can make the first one out of is going to be probably wrought iron. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's weld. Let's weld. Sheet. Sheet. And then we got to get them a little bit more heat because we were pretty quick. We were pretty quick there. But we gotta get them back up to weld again. Yeah, and maybe a little bit more so that we have time to get it into the anvil. Get a little bit more. There we go. Yellow, white. It's not gonna get a lot harder than that. In there without pumping the bellows, but we don't need that. We need that. And then we're gonna make it this thing. And there we go. I got really lucky on that. We throw that in there. Okay, we've checked the Teary, and now we light it. So light it. Just click it. It's going to open the interface, but there we go. It's lit. You can see that the texture's changed. Light it. Allow the ore to heat up some. So why I say that is because for now, it's basically heating all of that ore in there. You can see that it's burned up the first piece of charcoal. If we hold shift, we can see that it has 19 out of 20 charcoal and 20 ore out of the maximum 20. We can fix that. We can pump the bellows just enough to keep the heat near maximum. We don't need to do that just yet. We need to allow it to heat up some more. But while it's heating up, it's going to use up a tiny bit of charcoal. So let's go ahead and we can add extra charcoal if needed with the button. With the bottom button. Okay, I spell it. It's in there right. I was just not. So the bottom button will add us one piece of charcoal. So there it goes. Back into there. We've used up the one that we initially will use to light and allow it to heat up. So there it is. It's up to its. It's almost up to its resting temperature. There we go. That's its resting temperature. So right there, that line. Now, it will not melt the ore down at that heat, but it does take a few moments for that ore to come up to temperature in there, to come up to this level of heat. Even though the forge, the blast furnace, is at that level of heat, all of the ore that is in there is not quite up to that level yet. So we let that heat up just a little bit before we start pumping the bellows. We can save ourselves some fuel. So while we're doing that, we can probably take care of a few other chores. Come out here and start those back up again. Check on our rubber because that's done. There we go, rubber mix. We're going to get a ton of that rubber mix. Ooh, look at all that. And remember, that's that stuff that we need to make chests, and it's used for a few other things. We can turn it into that kind of rubber. Use it to make chests. Use it to make the low voltage cables. I thought that maybe this has more. There we go. Use it to make the very high voltage cables. So a bunch of things it's needed for. Fluid pipes. Can be used as fuel if we had a furnace. Okay. So yeah, lots of things that this is needed for. So bring that back down. Throw it into. I guess I'm throwing it in this chest for now. That doesn't really have a good place to fit in. That does not belong in there. And now that this is, yeah, you can see we've used up another piece of coal. So usually about after it's burned up 2 pieces of coal, I start giving it some bellow pumps. Also, add that extra piece of coal back in there. Now we look in here, you see we're not up to the maximum temperature. So pump it, check it. Not quite up to the maximum temperature, pump it. Check it. And one more. Right there. There we go. There's maximum temperature. Gets over that second line just a little bit. And before it goes back down to that third line, that's when you want to give it a pump. You want to keep it between this third and, or that second and that third line. And then you just want to keep it right there. Just a little bit. You can see our ore is not melting yet. We got to keep it in that heat range for just a little bit longer. There we go. There's our ore. It started to melt. But we have a little bit less charcoal than we have ore. We got to keep it. Now every time it melts a little there, you burn up another piece of charcoal. So we need to get that charcoal level back up to the level of our ore and keep that heat right in that range until our ore is gone. Now you don't want to pump it any more than you have to, just to keep it in that range, and that way you don't use up any more charcoal than you have to make your steel. Now as it is melting down, it is coming down in here. You can see that we got some pig iron. So we can go ahead and start creating whoops, not into there. Throw that into the crucible. We can start getting us some pig iron out of there. Let's keep our temperature up. Keep it up. Oh, let's see, we're down. We need to keep our temperature above that line. Keep our charcoal level, even with our ore. Don't absolutely have to do that, but if you want to keep your pig iron liquid coming out of there, you want to keep that temperature up. Oops. Almost done. Keep pouring the pig iron. Keep the temperature up above that line. Yeah, about done. Now I shouldn't need to pump it anymore. It should eat that last piece of ore by itself. There it goes. It's done. Now we're done. Now I have the option of just letting this cool down, or oops, I could, well, before it cooled off, I could have reloaded it with all of the material up there. I could have also reloaded it like right before the ore ran out, and it would have kept its heat. Unfortunately, you still need to like back away from it and allow that new batch of ore to come up to temperature before it'll start melting down into the pig iron. So, but down here now we have pig iron, and it's pretty hot. So we're going to go ahead and grab that all out of there, and we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and throw these in here to just to keep them at the working level of heat. We should have one more piece of pig iron to come out of there because the ore that we used was all 25 unit. We should have ended up with exactly 4 pieces or 5 pieces of steel, or 5 pieces of pig iron. No, 4. Yeah, there's 5 pieces of pig iron, which we can then turn into. Yeah, let's look at steel. This thing right here, the machine chassis, which requires a steel ingot, which is high carbon steel. There we go, which is pig iron. So all we need to do is beat this pig iron down. So, okay. Oh, and we ran out of heat because gotta let these guys heat back up now. But we can go ahead and like remove them from their things. And because we are going to need 2 of these chassis to really get things going, if we look at Ender.io, we're going to need a Stirling generator, which does not require a chassis. We're going to get into this next episode. We're going to need a sag mill, which does require this chassis. And we're going to need a... where is it at? Alloy smelter, which also requires this chassis and a whole bunch of iron. So we got our work cut out for us, but we do got a bunch of iron, and we will have more steel very soon. So if you liked anything about this video, make sure you hit that like button, and if you didn't, make sure you leave a comment. Let me know what I can do better in the future, and subscribe to see more content. Until next time, I will catch you later.